can do anything that we gonna do. Long as you got me and I know I got you, we a team. No in between.
So you decide to do this docuseries. What leads you to perimenopause?
When I was 38 years old, I started experiencing high anxiety, loss of confidence, and feeling very disconnected. And the scary part was I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was actually bad karma, just going through just like these really big changes.
Right, because you're a monk.
I'm a monk.
You can't be lost. You were there.
I teach this stuff. I teach breathing. I help people that have anxiety. But it was thanks to Anubhuti. She showed me the social media video, like, I think this is you. Rage, not sleeping at night, moody.
And I wanted to help her. I knew that that was not her. Something was shifting in her.
Right.
And so when I came across this video on social media, it was more about how 10 years before menopause, you begin to see a shift with especially progesterone. Progesterone is the first hormone that goes, and when that goes, your sleep gets affected, your mood gets affected, your anxiety gets affected. So it had all the check marks. So, nicely I sent her the video.
Right. So now there's the journey of like, okay, go to your doctor.
It was more research. One of our retreat students had her own med spa, and by chance I opened up about my health to her and what I was experiencing. And she's like, we're learning about it. Have you heard of hormone therapy? We can take care of you. I was like, I'm so desperate. I need to sleep. I feel like I'm going crazy. I'm ready to jump in.
When do you decide to film it?
Once we found out that, hey, this is something that we are experiencing, nobody's talking about it, nobody knows about it, we were like, we have to do something about it. But this is something that's a journey, so you have to kind of film it and document it, because it's not just like a one-time thing. So we're like, who are we going to follow and who are we going to film? And then we're like, I think we should film our own journey. And I actually didn't think I was going through it myself. So we went to the med spa, right, with our ashram student. She was so kind to give us access to hormone testing. I got tested. Of course I was struggling. My struggle was focus. I was completely depleted. I had no energy at all. I couldn't do the work I wanted to do. Everything felt like I had to cross over an entire mountain to get to it.
Right.
So when I got tested with the hormones, I was severely deficient on progesterone and estrogen and testosterone, all of them. We like to highlight the fact that perimenopause looks different for every one of us.
Right.
And so while she was having what I call the loud symptoms, I was having the silent symptom.
Let me just go back to just the terminology. Perimenopause, before menopause. But is menopause then this great abyss, you start menstruating and then you're in menopause? What's the proper terminology here?
I was almost offended when I found out that menopause is only one day in your life. The day after 12 months of no period, that's your menopause day. Everything before that is pre-menopause, then perimenopause, one day menopause, and then the next day you're in post-menopause.
Got it.
So we're going to be menopausal for almost 30% of our lives, if not more.
Right. A typical doctor does how much time at medical school on menopause?
What we have heard is 1 hour.
If that.
If that. It's a healthcare crisis when now we know that all women are going to go through this. So that's 50% of the population.
Yes.
Right. 50% of the global population. It's not just that we're going to go through something like this, it's the impact that menopause has in the body. The WHI study back in the 90s, late 90s, the government said we have enough evidence that says that estrogen therapy helps to reduce cardiovascular disease. The government put almost $1 billion into the creation of the WHI to prove that estrogen reduces cardiovascular disease. You don't get cardiovascular disease until you're in your 60s and 70s. They recruited a much older population. The women that they gathered were already sick. They were former smokers.
A third of them were obese?
30% of, over 30% obese, overweight, diabetic. They didn't even really have a significant increase in the risk of breast cancer and cardiovascular disease. But even if it did increase it, it was so minimal that it was not significant. But the media doesn't know how to interpret the results. So what they took out of it was something very alarming that said that, hormones cause cancer. They increase the risk of heart disease and Alzheimer's or dementia.
Now with new research, what is the data showing?
There's more benefits than risks. So we need to change that conversation. So it's a whole body situation. So you have to have like that conversation with your doctor and have shared decision making. But replacing your hormones and adding that back in protects your heart, protects your brain, protects your bones, protects everything in your body. If you're deficient in vitamin D, the doctor's going to tell you take a vitamin D supplement,
Right.
which is an actual hormone. You take that, you feel better. Why the big deal on the hormones?
If we can get one message out there, the most important, I think, is vaginal estrogen. This is killing women to not have this. I think there's a misconception that vaginal estrogen is only if you want to have an active sex life. That's not it. This is to stay alive. This is to not get a UTI. Urinary tract infections kill people, men and women, but women at an alarming rate. You can have symptoms of feeling disoriented, of feeling off balance. It's almost like stroke-like symptoms. And then there's the typical, like, feeling an urgency. But left unchecked, you become septic, right? So tell me why estrogen suppositories are so important.
As the decline of estrogen happens in the body, you begin to sense like your body's changing. So are you experiencing urinary frequency, urinary urgency, dryness, itchiness? All of these things are the signs that are telling you that you're lacking these hormones, usually in your 40s. And so if you're already experiencing these things, then it's maybe already a sign that you should consider estrogen cream, vaginal cream. There is also suppositories. But why? It's called the genitourinary syndrome of menopause. And I remember Dr. Rachel Rubin, when we did her interview, she says, well, you as monks, maybe you think you don't need it.
Right.
But all women are
need
gonna
it.
go
All
through
women
this.
need it.
I think the biggest thing is that as women, we have pushed ourselves our whole lives, and we have normalized a lot of pain and suffering that we shouldn't have. And this is one of the phases that you can avoid the pain, you can avoid the suffering if you are knowledgeable. Women don't need to suffer. And how not to suffer? One, with the knowledge, with the education, and two, there is treatment. As monks, we should be promoting peace and meditation and breathing and yoga, which we of course do. But there is absolutely nothing in that world that's going to bring back the hormones that your body is losing as you go through menopause.
You told me something which is terrific, and I want to share with everybody about from Mark Cuban from Shark Tank. Okay.
Yes. So he has a low-cost pharmacy available to everybody,
which everybody should know about.
Yes.
Cost plus.
Cost plus.
Cost
yes.
plus.
And they have the estradiol cream, vaginal cream, for $14. There is access. We just don't know how to access the medications.
Right.
And same thing with the patches. Same thing with the gel. Same thing with the testosterone gel and all of the other things.
Is it my understanding that you can't get a prescription for testosterone as a woman?
It's not FDA approved for women unless you have a sexual dysfunction. A menopause specialist, they know the benefits that it has on your brain, your bones, your heart,
Of course, but you have to
everything.
say you have sexual dysfunction in order to get this prescription.
As monks, we wouldn't even qualify for testosterone.
Stop. So just give us the stats about testosterone and the amount that a person would typically get.
A healthy woman in her earlier years, the most that she'll ever have is 80 with her blood work.
Okay.
And so when you go to a med spa or a physician doctor who does the pellets, the lowest amount that they're able to insert, because they're made for men.
Because they're made for men, because
Yes.
they're not made for women.
They
Go ahead.
start at 150.
Right,
So
so
it's
you're-
almost double the amount of the biological testosterone levels that a woman would have. There are very severe side effects that can come with that. And so that includes losing your hair, your voice changes, the clitoris gets enlarged. That's why we want to make sure women get the education and the right information.
I think of you as warriors in the best way. I'm going to push back on this because this is crazy and it is causing people to die. It's causing people to suffer, to feel like they're crazy, because how many women are told it's just a time of life?
Or it's all in your head.
Right.
They stop prescribing hormones, would increase antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, and you could see just that switch.
Right. How were you feeling as you were going? Did you feel a little bit like, how has this happened?
Well, we couldn't believe it. Like the fact that at that age, at 40 and 38, we had never heard the word perimenopause. We were like, how? I think things have changed. I think a lot more women are now in science. They are more in medicine. And so I think women have become very curious to find out what's happening to their bodies. Women's health has not been taken seriously.
No.
It has been completely underfunded, under-researched. It's taken the back seat.
Us women, it's like, this is what we do. We get together, we get loud, and we don't back down. Why it's so important to make these films, to have all of these books for celebrities to speak about, to do
Right.
what you do with Wise and Wonderful Women, because that's what activates women. How are you going to say no to a bunch of warrior women?
Right, and we need to be more warrior women. If you want the deep dive in this, you have done such a beautiful job with this docuseries. It's 4 episodes, right?
Yes.
It's on Apple TV.
Yes.
And it's called Balance. This is a continuing conversation, and it's so glad that you did this docuseries. Glad that you were just advocating for women all the time, and so glad to always see you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're so grateful.